Okay, welcome. We're back to Basics of Zoom Part 2. I'm Marcia.
I'm Diane, and we are your hosts.
Okay, take it away.
All right, so Basics Part 2, we're just going to go into deeper settings. So just kind of like yesterday, if you got questions, if you have things that you do in the settings that we didn't show and advantages or whatever, just chime on in. Here we go. Maybe. So this is just kind of and again, these slides, we've already, I think, did Frank send out an email to everybody to make them available already?
I don't think so, but we can definitely send them early to you guys if you want them right away.
Anyway, they'll be available, so don't think that you need to take notes or anything, right? Just kind of talking about what we did yesterday, just really how to create your account, schedule a meeting, do some setting adjustments, some basic options, how to schedule that reoccurring meeting, and some settings for your Zoom. Today, we're going to look a little bit more into some advanced ones. We're going to talk more about sharing your screen today and sharing files. And then we're going to talk about using the whiteboard within Zoom or using some third-party whiteboard apps, which I'll get more into tomorrow. If you want to join the one that Patsy and I do tomorrow, we'll do Notability, Good Notes, and Remind. So I know Remind isn't a whiteboard app, but I'll show you how I use it anyway as a screen sharing thing. So, and more. So here we go. What do we got? So definitely you want to, or maybe not, you don't want to show your beautiful picture. You do. I think you should.
Well, so, and here's why. I'll show you right now. Because when you stop your video, you can still see my face, right? So you see, like Victor, I can tell Victor doesn't have a picture because he stopped his video and all I see is his name. So I think it's nice to have a picture just so, you know, if I need to walk away, it still looks like I'm paying attention. See, Diane? I got you.
Oh yeah, you're paying attention there, Marcia. You got it. Anyway, it's nice, you know, that they see a picture there or whatever. So, you know, we do definitely suggest that you go in, and it doesn't take much time to insert a picture. Find some nice professional picture like Marcia had, or you could find my picture. Let's see if I can stop mine.
There you go.
So, nice. Old wedding photo is what that is from a niece's wedding, I believe. Anyway, you can do whatever.
Victor, you changed it live. That's the way to do it.
Look at that, Victor. Very nice.
I like it.
Nice close up there too.
Yeah, whoa.
Oh, that's cool. I have to do that.
So it's super easy to do, you know.
So it's interesting. I have a picture in Google, but it's not used in this.
No,
it's not a Google format.
And it's not talking to Google. So it's not. Mariana, if you know how to do a screenshot, that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, but they all turn out awful. So,
but if you have a picture that's already saved, you know, it's super easy. Like what I'll do sometimes is just find a picture on my phone that I like and I crop it. That's what that picture was. It was a picture from a niece of mine's wedding a couple of years ago. And I just took the picture and cropped my husband out because he's actually standing next to me. Yeah. And then I saved that photo on my desktop and I uploaded it that way.
Yeah, I'll do that. I've got some pictures for that.
Yeah.
James, I like Victor
though. For you to live upload. Let's go.
What?
We're ready, James and Mariana, for your pictures.
Well,
I'm not.
Do you have
I'm
a
not
picture?
signed in to Zoom.
Well, whose fault is that?
I just
well,
had
you don't
some
have
photos.
To be signed into Zoom. You can just go ahead and open up your Zoom and change it.
I don't see where.
So just go to your web and open up Zoom.
Yeah, I'm not signed in. Yeah. I'm trying to remember how to sign in. Okay.
Get that username and password going.
Right.
Okay, I'll do it later.
Pam, do you have a picture?
I had Sydney take some last night. The one that I have that I use on Canvas is just crazy ass ugly, so I gotta change it. I think it'd be doing more harm than good if I use that photo.
Well, hopefully last night at your birthday you looked good, so you were ready for your picture to be taken. All right, so anyway, there's uploading your picture, and then all the rest of the stuff there with your personal information. So the next thing is there are three different ways that, three different settings: meeting, recording, and telephone in the settings button. So when you're clicking the settings button.
So you can see I've numbered them 1, 2, and 3 above. So you can see there, you can click on those and that gives you different settings for each one.
So going through those, just like, and we talked a lot about those settings yesterday, and we really said we're not gonna go into the recording or using the telephone because we never have had anybody ever call in.
No, those aren't the settings from yesterday. These are different settings.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, no, the settings from yesterday, so let's talk about that. The settings from yesterday are settings on your meeting. So maybe Diane, you want to jump off just a second and I'll show what I mean.
Yep, please do.
Okay, so there is a difference.
Hi, Jennifer. She woke up going, oh.
Okay, so here is my Zoom here. So again, when I log in, this is what I'm looking at here. I'm on the website, right? Okay. And so yesterday, what we talked about was if I wanted to schedule a meeting, I'm going to click meeting. Maybe. And then I'm going to hit schedule a new meeting. Come on, I feel like I need some Jeopardy background music. Okay, and then the settings that we were talking about yesterday were more these meeting options down here. Enable join before host, mute participants, etc. Okay, today we're gonna do a deep dive into the actual settings that you can go on your Zoom account. Now, if you're wondering what's the difference, these are settings that are gonna be specific to that Zoom meeting. So in other words, for instance, Diana is using my account for her training tomorrow, and she said, will you take off the waiting room? So there is a setting where I could say, for every single one of my meetings, always put on a waiting room, or I can adjust the settings right here in the specific meeting setting. Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yep, got it. That's where my mistake was.
That's all right. So settings, and I'll be honest with you, it can be a little overwhelming. So don't feel like you need to sit down and redo all the settings. The main thing that today's session really we wanted to just touch on was what are the settings that we found helpful. So that's kind of where we're gonna be there. So Diane, I'm gonna let you take back over with the PowerPoint.
All right. All right, so these are the settings overall. So like Marcia was explaining, which I knew, but wasn't really thinking about it in that manner, I guess, when she was talking about it. So these are the settings, like when you set these, they're gonna cover all meetings unless, well, now Marcia, I don't know about this. So they're covering all meetings, but I can still go into an individual meeting and change the settings for that particular meeting, right?
Correct, yes. These, I believe, the way I understand it at least, that these are your default settings. But you're going to see that there's some of the settings, and even as we talk about recording, if you come to Frank and I's session, there's a few whiteboard settings that I touch on in this PowerPoint, but especially with recording settings, you can really go to all kinds of different options to, how you choose to have it recorded. So there's some of those settings just are really a deep dive that you don't get when you schedule a meeting, if that makes sense.
All right. So in the general meeting settings for all meetings, you can obviously enable your waiting room there.
If you go to the next one, I zoom in a little more.
Oh. All right. So here's where you can name a co-host. And this is where we were talking about yesterday, like especially if you have a student success specialist, it's great to name them as a co-host because then they can utilize all aspects. They can have people enter into the waiting room. They can enter in people from there. They can go in and out of breakout rooms, all of that stuff. You can also, when you're in your meeting, if you're the host and you're in the, not the basic, but if you have the paid account, which right now I only have the basic again. But if you're in the paid account, you can click on anybody that you want in the little 3 dots up on the top, and you can change them to a co-host there. So you can do it quick on the fly, or you can name your co-host here if you know you have a reoccurring co-host every single time. So this works great if you have like a success specialist and you know that they're going to hold office hours at specific times. So you might want to.
One hiccup that we just ran into literally 10 minutes ago, Diane, was that when I tried to put your email in, it did not allow me to assign you as a co-host because it said we weren't on the same account. So I actually don't think that that's true. I think it would only be if we had like a school account that we could do that. However, you are correct that like right now, I just made you a co-host. So once the people are in, once your student success specialist is in, you could make them a co-host. There's really no reason that they need to be a co-host ahead of time.
So we can't use that setting right now because we don't have a full account that way.
Well, no. You can use it
time.
if you turn that on though. If that was turned off, like as you can see right here, it is turned off. But when it's turned on, I can make you a co-host right now. Or
okay. If it was turned off. So that's the way it works. It's not like you can put the person's name in right there.
Correct. You can do that with the individual meeting, but you have to be on the same account. That doesn't help us any.
Yeah, that doesn't
help. Same account.
That doesn't help. The polling. So this is where you can ask students, do you want to go ahead and run a poll, Marsha?
Sure. Yep.
So Marsha's going to show you how the poll works. She's going to create a little poll. And you can send this out. It sends out like through chat, correct?
Yeah. So actually, let me just share my screen if you want to jump off one more time. Okay, so here you go. I have launched a poll, and if you're wondering where you launched the poll, if you are the presenter, down at the bottom, you see on your little, what do you call it, tools bar there, you've got mute, you've got camera, you've got all that, right? Participants, chat. So if you go to polls, this is what we'll launch. Notice that it's launched in another browser. Okay, so I could just say, I'm gonna call this test. I can make it anonymous if I want, or if you're using this to actually maybe count for some sort of participation grade, you can have, it'll say what they said. Okay, so let's just say, what is 2 + 2? And then we can do single choice, we can do multiple choice. So is it 3, 0, 4, none of the above? And then I can hit save. And I could add another question, by the way.
James raised his hand.
Oh, who did?
James, do you have a question? Oh, you were just playing?
Yeah, I was just messing around, sorry.
Great, James. Thanks for interrupting. Just kidding. Hold on one second. Okay, so now again, I could add another question. I could do more of these, but I'm just gonna hit save. Okay, so here's what my poll looks like. Can you still see that, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So what is 2 + 2, 3, 0, 4, none of the above? So then I'm gonna hit launch poll. And now it should, and you can see it says test in progress. Attendees are now viewing question 05. So go ahead on your personal stuff. You should be able to answer this. So some people, choose whatever you want.
I don't know how to, what do you do? Click on it?
Diane, you might not be able to see it because you're a co-host. I'm not sure.
I can see it, but I can't click on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Dang it.
So Marsha, I have a question. When you're doing this, would you do this ahead of time? Would you do it live in the class? Could you set it to release at the end of class? Hey, this is your exit ticket out. How are you using it, or have you used it?
Personally, the only time I really use polls is when I just need a quick, did I do my homework last night? Yes or no. Something like that that's like super fast that I could type on the fly. Personally, I still really like to use Kahoot, and you could totally use Kahoot still with a Zoom very easily. So, because I like Kahoot because then I can put images, I can make it really fancy. So, polls, in my opinion, are more for like in my class, I used to always say like, if you're feeling good about fractions, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs to the side if you're not so great, or a thumbs down, like something like that where it's more feelings, but that's just how I use them. I don't know, Diane, have you used them at all?
I've never used them, no. I find them interesting, but I also, because most of the classes that yeah, it's not in the chat, Marianne, it just comes up on the screen in the middle of your screen. But most of the classes I've taught are more upper level, so I think it'd be really hard to type a question in on the fly for like a trig class or a calc class. I just couldn't.
Like I said, I feel like you could use it easily for like even just an icebreaker, how
For
are
a
you
check-in.
feeling? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mariana, did you find it?
She's wondering where the results are.
Oh,
So
okay, I didn't click.
she
Okay,
hasn't ended it yet.
okay, so now I'm going to end the poll, and I can see 5 people voted. I can see, I can share the results. So let me share the results so you guys should be able to see them.
Can you see them?
Yes. Okay, and then I'm going to hit stop sharing for the results. And I'm pretty sure, oh, by the way, I could relaunch, etc. But then, cool, yes. And so Pam, this kind of answers your question too. If you're logged in your Zoom account, you could add a poll and do that ahead of time so that it wasn't like, on the fly. And then I thought there was a way, I think what it is when we're finished with the Zoom call, it will say, here's your people and here's what they said. So I can send that to you guys later.
Awesome.
Okay, Diane, go ahead.
I will. Let me see. I got to get the poll was sitting in the middle of my screen. So there we go. So let's see, back to where we were talking about. So
the ones in red are the ones that I really just wanted to, polling is cool. And by the way, you can turn off polling or turn it on there. But if you look at that next one for screen sharing.
Right, so screen sharing, that's going to allow, so you can either do it 2 ways. You can do it where you're the only one that can share, or if you name a co-host during your meeting, they can also share, or you can let your participants share. Now, I'll let you know, when I did it, I always made myself be the only one share, but when they go into a breakout room, they can share in a breakout room. Because I would go into the breakout rooms and they'd be sharing their screens with each other, even though I never clicked that button. Which was interesting to me. I didn't realize that they would be able to share in a breakout room like that. But it was good because sometimes they didn't all have the questions. So one person would share the question with everybody else and they'd be talking about it in their breakout.
One more thing on this screen. If you look at that second, Diane, I don't know if there's any, maybe there's not a way to make that bigger, but if you look, I guess I could drag my thing. If you look at the second option in that second red box under screen sharing, it says who can share when someone else is sharing. So typically I say all participants, and I'll tell you why. And I think I put it over here on the side, but let's say that your plan is that you're going to break students into breakout rooms. You're going to give them a problem to solve, maybe like a warm up. And then you want students to be able to share out their answers. And let's say that it's a more complicated problem. So they're going to share some sort of a picture or, whatever, something on their desktop. Or for that matter, their phone. If you don't allow that, what's going to happen is this. I'm going to say, okay, Pam, you're sharing for your group. So then I'm going to have to say, hey, Diane, can you get off of screen sharing so Pam can jump back on? So then hopefully Diane's paying attention and she can go to the bathroom or not, right? And so then, Pam jumps on and she's sharing and I say, okay, Pam, please turn off your screen sharing. Okay, Victor, your team's up. It's time for you to screen share. And so it kind of just uses up a very small amount of time, but in my opinion, it's a little bit annoying versus if everyone's paying attention, I just say, okay, Pam, your team's up, go ahead and share. And what happens is Pam can actually, it'll give Pam a warning and say, hey, you're about to kick the other person off a screen share. Are you sure you still want to do that? Pam says yes, and then she can still share, and it just kicks off the previous team. So it works really well so that you don't have to micromanage that really silly, you know, whatever, on and offs.
And I definitely see the advantage of it now. If I was doing a live Zoom, I would definitely have everybody be able to share. Though most of my students, they really didn't have any way to be sharing something. I mean, they could have shared something on their computer, but when we were talking about like doing a calculus problem like I was doing this summer, you know, they would have written it on a piece of paper. So the best they could have done to share was just hold it up to their screen or, you know, whatever. And I had them share a lot that way. So just different things that you can do, because some of our students are pretty low tech. You know, some of them are really great tech, and I would have a lot of students that would jump in with iPads and do notes, and they'd share their notes with each other. But I had other students that were super low tech, and they just had a piece of paper and they'd hold their paper out and show each other. So these are the settings that you can get where you can have students give you feedback or like kind of tell you what was going on in the class. So nonverbal feedback. So this is a button that you can click. And when you do that, they can do a little check mark. They can say, you know, go slower, go faster. There's some more things that they can put in there. I think they can do a hand clap or a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Oh, James is playing. So you can, if you go to participants, let's everybody go ahead and look for this. Click on participants. And then you will notice down at the bottom of your participants list, you should see all those buttons. Does everyone see them? Oh, I see one person. James is saying go faster. There's even a more that you can put a little coffee. If you notice, I've got a little coffee cup on mine that you can use. And again, you would establish this in your classroom, but okay, I'm gonna go for a break real quick. So that's what that one means.
But you have to have that participant, you have to click the participant thing to see it.
Correct.
It doesn't show up on their picture like the thumbs up and the thumbs down.
And I will tell you that I always have my participants and my chat open as I'm teaching. And I also always have all my students. So if I were to show you what I'm looking at right now, I've got what Diane is sharing on half of my screen. I've got my gallery view of my students on my other half. And then in the corner, I've got my participants with my chat so that I've got a good idea of what's going on. Now, if you're wondering where that is on yours, it could be that you're in full screen view. It's a simple hit of the escape, and it will allow you to mess with what you're seeing so that you're not just seeing Diane's screen. So if you're just seeing what Diane is sharing and you're not able to see the rest of us, it could be that you're in full screen view.
And I usually take my chat and my participants and move them to the other. I have a double screen. And so you can drag them to the other screen just to get them out of my way. Too much stuff in front of me and I'm like not being able to see my notes very well or whatever. So I try to manage my two screens in that way. Just helps me out.
One other little tip is that if you do have a student success specialist, by the way, how many of you have applied for one for fall? Nobody? Oh, Pam did? Okay. They're still taking people, so get one. They're really cool. But if nothing else, you can use your student success specialist to watch your chat. And I find personally that a lot of times students don't really want to speak up. And it could be they've got too much noise in the background, and so they would rather chat. Well, if I'm engrossed in my lesson, maybe I'm not seeing it. Or if the chat's blowing up over here and I can't keep up with it while I'm teaching, you know, that's one thing that your student success specialist can help with during class. The other thing that they can help with is you could teach them how to put a personal student or a couple students in a breakout room if you needed that, just like you would do in class. The other idea is that you could just make a norm for your students and just say, like, hey, listen, I'm not really great at watching the chat. So please do me a favor and raise your hand, take your mute off, say, hey, don't forget about me, you know, something to get my attention so that then I look at the chat and I know what's going on.
That's usually what I did, just because I'm horrible at monitoring them all. You know, you get engrossed in that message, in that lesson that you're doing. So I would always tell my students, unmic yourself and speak up, because I'm going to miss that. It's sitting over there, but I'm still gonna miss it. So please don't let me roll over you and you totally be lost.
I have a quick question. So in order to get the hand raise and the other things, you have to go to participants, right?
That hand raise came from a different spot, Pam.
No, participants, she's right.
The hand raise, because she just had the hand raise in the middle of her screen.
Right.
That didn't come from participants, did it?
Uh-huh. If you go to, oh, wait a minute.
No. So when you do the hand raise, that comes from your three
React.
little.
No.
No, I did it via, that's my question, is that I only see hand raise, yes, no, go slower, go faster, coffee
Because I don't even
break,
see hand raise on mine.
away. I only see that in participant. I don't see that.
You should see without
reaction.
participant, you should see it on reaction.
When I
do
click
not.
on reaction, nothing happens either for me.
I have two things for reaction. I have the thumbs up and the hand clap. That's all I have.
All right, that's all that's on
It's not
reaction.
working for me at all, the reactions.
I don't even see my reaction.
Elvira, where are you? Oh, see, I think that is, oh no, it is coming from participants because look at Elvira. Oh wait, no. Elvira is not.
James, go to participants.
I see all this stuff, you know, raise hand, yes, no, all that stuff.
Highlight your name though. You have to click on yourself. Click on your name and now add whatever you want to add. So put your raise hand on there. Are you with
Well,
me?
I can get all the reaction, well, I can see the tools under participants. I don't see, when I click on reactions, nothing happens.
Oh, well, at least try this. Go to participants, click on your name and then pick like a hand raise.
Diane, you and I aren't going to be able to see the same things other people are because we're the hosts and co-hosts.
I see Mariana with her hand up.
Is that working for you, James? No?
I mean, I see everything that goes under the reactions is under the participant menu, so it's fine. I just kind of weird if a student clicks on reactions and nothing happens.
Yeah, that I don't understand.
I just have to click on my name. I just clicked the hand thing.
Yeah, she didn't.
Oh, let me try that.
I don't think you have to have your name highlighted to do it.
I don't think you do.
Oh, no, you don't. No, it works. It's working now. Okay.
Because I changed to no and yes and whatever I want to do.
Yeah, I think
Well,
Diane, you just don't see the hand raise because you and I are hosts.
Yeah, that must be it.
But I don't understand why James doesn't have a reaction because I have the hand clap.
James, can you raise your hand?
But that's different than reactions. He's talking about.
I can raise my hand under the participants.
Right.
Those options there, I can do that.
You mean under reactions, you can raise your hand.
Under participants.
Oh, under participants? Okay, do it. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
That's fine. Whatever.
But his reactions aren't working.
I don't know.
Oh, you can't do reactions, James?
Nothing.
No, but it's a duplication anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. And by the way, as the instructor, I don't think you guys have a clear all button, but I do. So I can clear all. So if you ask your students a question and you want a yes or no, you can clear them. And then I've also got, anytime somebody raises their hand, we get a button that says lower hand. So I can, once I've answered their question, lower that just for my own sake. But you won't be able to do that on your end. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Diane, you're up. Keep going.
All right. So more settings again, remove participants to rejoin. So if they get kicked, if a student gets kicked out, then you don't have to readmit them because you'd already admitted them once. So it's kind of nice because every once in a while, like, I don't know, they might even like kick themselves out just to go to the bathroom and whatever. Or their internet was bad and they got kicked out, then you don't have to readmit them all the time. So that's a nice setting to do. Allow participants to rename themselves. I found this one particularly good because I've had a lot of students do it on their phone. And for some reason, if you come in on a phone, not on an iPad, but if you come in on an iPhone, even if you put your name in before, it'll come in iPhone. And I always make my students name themselves because I would want to know who's there. So as soon as, they came in on an iPhone, I'd be like, please make sure you put your name on it. So if you don't allow them to rename themselves, they'll just be iPhone the entire time. And then if they're black because they don't put a picture up, then all you have is iPhone staring at you. So It's just a good thing to do.
Diane, will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Go to, I think it's the second to last, will you zoom forward a bunch? There's a screen where I show the two white lines right there. So Mariana, oop, no, that one.
No, it did not work.
What do you
It
mean?
just, I mean, I already have it enlarged all the way to the right with just the small column of everybody's picture, but I still can't see what's written on the screen in that teeny tiny print that she's showing that's got the circle.
Oh, that's just because the screen is probably so small with
Oh,
both.
yeah, how big is the screen that you're
So
on?
when I use Meet, I'm able to like do Control minus, and that minimizes the Meet stuff, but it maximizes the rest. In this case, it does not work.
So even if you just clicked on the single participant, so you're just looking at the host or whoever's talking at one time, how does that work? How big is the?
You could also do speaker view, Mariana.
Yeah.
Gallery
Well,
view.
Yeah, I already had that too. I changed back from speaker to gallery. I don't know. I just thought I'd be able to enlarge it myself and have some control.
Yeah, I can enlarge it. I
Oh,
can enlarge
maybe I
it.
can just ask you to enlarge it then.
Well, let's see.
Diane, just hit that magnifying to the left of where you're at.
Well,
Yeah, there you
I
go.
mean, that screen, I can see everything. It was on the one that she was showing that had all the little circle parts in the column on the right that there's no way I can read that.
Go back and I can pull it up
Keep
live.
going. Keep going. Like that? I can't read that.
Okay.
Unless I get right up on it.
And see if you do a magnifying. Oh, look, I can do that for you.
Oh.
No, that did it.
Oh.
Look
That
at
did it.
that.
So I
That's
just
a
need to put it in
PowerPoint thing. That's
And
not a
there's the
Zoom
magnify,
thing.
please.
Fancy, Diane. You fancy.
I'm fancy, but that's a PowerPoint thing. That's not a Zoom thing. So
Okay.
I'm not real familiar with. I mean, I know PowerPoint and I build PowerPoints, but I don't ever do my presentations.
Okay. Now resume, please. At least I can see it.
All right. And look at that. I click and I'm back. So anyway, that's renaming participants. Now let's see if I can
Yeah, zoom in again.
zoom in again.
Perfect. Thanks.
So here, just talking about some of the things, you want to turn closed caption on so those students that need it. Yes, yes.
Wait, time out. Closed caption though doesn't mean anything in Zoom. This is
Okay.
drama. If you turn closed captioning on, by the way, I think it's default turned on. That's why it's on in mine. If you turn it on, all that means is I could say, hey, Pam, you're a fast typer, right? Do you want to close caption our meeting first? That's what it means. So the workaround, well, first of all, I think Zoom, when I chatted with them in the spring, because I had a student who was deaf and it was a huge problem, they said that was something they were working on, but it wasn't quite ready yet. So I have a feeling that's going to be fixed really soon. However, the workaround is you can record it like normal, download your file, upload to YouTube, and YouTube has an auto caption feature. It's not, if you know anything about YouTube's auto caption feature, and obviously James, you can chime in, it's not awesome, and we don't usually use that as our default, but in a worst case scenario, you can do that. It's just that obviously to edit your own captions for an hour and a half is terrible. A 5-minute video is fine. An hour and a half video is awful. So
no bueno.
One of the flaws of closed captioning and Zoom.
So the one that we really wanted to point out on this screen was the group HD video. You want to turn that off because it will take up a lot of bandwidth if you have it on. So the other one that I'll talk about really quickly, that virtual background we talked about a little bit yesterday, that just like puts you in Hawaii, like you can have the beach behind you or whatever. It's really hard for you to show anything else on your screen. Like I don't have my calculator today, but like if I was doing something on my calculator, I had a virtual screen and I tried to put my calculator up to the screen, you wouldn't be able to see it. So I don't know. I was doing it because I can't remember if we talked about it yesterday. It was just Marcia and I talking about this.
I
So
think
the days all run together. But when I originally started doing my Zoom classes, I had people living in my house. I didn't have my office where I am now, and I was stuck in my bedroom. And I really hated students to see my bed. Like, I don't know why, but I just didn't like it. I didn't like, them seeing where I slept for some reason. So I do the virtual background so it would cover up my bed. It's there. Students like to use it every once in a while, but for the most part, they don't really play with it.
you can turn it off though if you've got someone
Yep.
being annoying.
Yeah.
It's nice to know.
So yeah, I mean, I'd have a couple of them that would come in with different virtual backgrounds and whatever. We'd laugh for a few minutes and then you just kind of ignore it. So. Okay, so we're recording settings now. I'm going to let Marcia totally talk to this because I have never, ever recorded and I don't even want to pretend like I know anything about doing the recording portion of it.
Okay, so go ahead and jump off and I will share looking at the live one. Okay, so again, this is what you're going to see when you log in. We are down on settings here on the left. And we have gone through, you'll notice that your default is meeting. I just want to show you the ones that I highlighted in the PowerPoint were just some of the ones that I have either turned on or think are important, but you can see, I'll just do a little scroll here. I mean, there is a lot of settings. So if you're bored or you've got a lot of time in your hands and you want to look them all up and see what they do, there's all kinds of settings here. Okay, so that's all. I'm still scrolling, by the way. Still scrolling. Okay, I am down at the bottom. Yay. All right, so now let's go back up and we will look at recording settings here. Oh, Mariana, go ahead.
Got your attention, huh? Says I'm muted. Wait a minute.
Oh, no. Now you're muted. You were unmuted.
Okay, now I'm not.
Yep.
Why not use WebEmu for your calculator if you want to show something to students on the calculator?
I do, but good question that you asked me. Every once in a while, I just have my calculator sitting there, and sometimes I didn't want to switch off my screen. I was just doing something quick, and I just wanted to show it.
Okay, all right, because I've had really good luck using the WebEmu in my Meet session.
No, I have good luck too. I use I'll use both Desmos and I'll use I have the emulator for TI on my desktop, so I'd use both all summer. But every once in a while, we'd just be doing something quick, and people were like, "Can you show us what you got?" And I just pulled it up.
Okay, just wondered because we own them, so we might as well. We can certainly use WebEmu. Okay.
I think one of the other reasons too is probably because the way Diane was connecting with her iPad, it's not real convenient to,
Right.
she's writing on her iPad over here. So I mean, you're really talking about a few seconds at least, if not 30 seconds of canceling this, jumping on this. So I could see that's kind of.
I'd have to stop sharing off my iPad and start sharing. Desmos was real easy for me because I had it on my iPad. But our iPads have such sucky calculators on them.
Yeah.
I cannot find a good calculator app for the iPad. So then I would, and that is true, I would have to stop and pull up the emulator and start sharing my screen instead.
Yeah. Okay, I just wondered. Sorry to interrupt, Pam.
No, good question.
Okay. So recording. I have a lot of experience with recording because, as I said, in the spring, I had a really sweet student who was deaf. And so I wanted to give them the best possibility or best possible options for being able to watch the class over and over again, since I know that ASL is such a body language. And so obviously she was at a major disadvantage than even if she had been sitting in my class.
And I can't enlarge her. I don't know if Marcia can enlarge her.
I can make it bigger.
There you go.
How's that? Okay. So a few of the things that I learned was that one, there's lots of different ways that you can record. So the default is that it will always record whoever's talking, so not the host, but whoever's talking, so the speaker view, if you're sharing a screen, that is the default. And actually it'll record the speaker view anyways, even if you're not sharing a screen, that's the default, which is fine, except in this scenario. So this happened to me very first where I'm recording, and what happened was I didn't notice that there was a student who had just a little tiny bit of background noise, and it wasn't enough to be bothersome, but what was happening was it was causing Zoom to think that they were speaking. And so like even now I'm looking and I can see that the green square is around Diane. So like here I'm watching as I'm talking and teaching, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that green square keeps going to the student who has background noise, shoot. And so a workaround is you can mute the student, but the student can still unmute themselves unless you turn that setting on. So what happened was my very first recording was a lot of this student staring at the screen like this and my shared screen. So you could still hear me, but it just was not my face, and that irritated me. So then I ended up landing, well, the next one I tried was, okay, well, at least let me do a gallery view. Well, the problem is that when you select gallery view in Zoom and you have 20 people on, and by the way, she had 4 interpreters. That was my other problem. So when you do gallery view and the shared screen for the recording, then what happened is the last 4 people to talk is who it always recorded. So then we had to have this super weird conversation with the whole class of like, please stay muted, okay? And like I was having to watch it. It was a train wreck. So the final workaround was that you can select to have it actually record in 2 separate video files. So it'll record one of just all your participants, and it will record one of your shared screen. And then the only problem is to download it and merge them is a little bit of an editing nightmare. But what you can do is share it on the cloud. So if you have the paid version, you get 1 gigabyte, megabyte, something. It's enough for about 3 classes that I could keep that link in the cloud on Zoom. And then if she clicked on that, she could see both the shared screen recording and the gallery view recording. So all of that to say, there's a lot of different options if you plan on recording your classes. So I'll go over just a couple of them. And the other nice thing is if you turn on this local recording one here, they can record it to their own computer, which I don't know how you all feel about that. I'm totally fine with it. But obviously you'd have to decide. To me, that's the same as if they brought some sort of audio recorder to class. I would never have a problem with that. But obviously you'll have to see what you feel most comfortable with. You have cloud recording, like I said, that comes with a paid account. It does not come with a free account. And I was able to do about 3 classes that were an hour and 15 minutes long. I was able to record those and store them on there. And you can see right over here, here are all of the options you can do. So right now I have record gallery view with shared screen. So that is basically just going to, again, be the last 4 people that have been talking. That's what people will be able to see on the recording. But this is the one, if I uncheck this, this is the one I had for my student, and it actually recorded it separately. And again, like I said, this way it allowed her, no matter who was interpreting for her, she could always see them with the other. You can also do record in audio file only. That's a default there. It'll save the chat messages, which is also really nice. I don't do any of this display participant names in the recording. You can see there's all kinds of options there. I think I told you yesterday, automatic recording. I don't ever automatically record something just because of the fact that you waste at least the first 10 minutes of the meeting starting, of where you're just sitting on there twiddling your thumbs, waiting for your students to come in, and then you've got 5 to 7 minutes of students coming in. So if somebody's gonna watch that back, they gotta know to fast forward that, and we know that they really don't pay attention for that long. So I don't do that myself. I just start and stop it manually. You've got all kinds of, you can even authenticate it, so they have to be an authenticated user. I do recommend a password to access your shared cloud recordings, again, just so no weirdo is just able to see whoever's face they can see on your screen. So I always turn that on if you're going to share with the cloud. I think that's it. So that would be recording. For telephone settings, I don't ever touch these. So like we said yesterday, I don't really do a lot of, I don't even think I've ever had a student call in, but you've got all kinds of different options there. Okay. Any questions? Okay, Diane, go ahead. I'm gonna stop.
All right. So now we're going to talk about screen sharing. So looking at screen sharing, you can share lots of different things. So when you go in, if you're the host or if you have it on for everybody, you guys, because we have sharing on for everybody, right, Marcia?
Correct. Anybody should be able to share.
Anybody, so you should all see a green button that says share, new share. Okay, and when you share, there's lots of things that come up. When I just clicked the share, I had to go and search for what was it that I wanted to share. So you share since I have more than one screen, I can share my full desktop, my main desktop.
Will you zoom in on that white square there just so it's a little bit closer up?
You bet I will. How about that? So this is what it looks like when I open up my share. So when I open up my new share, I have my desktop where they can see my entire desktop, which is your main screen. Then I have a second screen. So on my second screen, that's where I'm sharing right now. I have my PowerPoint that was already there and up and ready to roll. And then you have a whiteboard that you can share. So this is literally a whiteboarding tool within Zoom. If you pull that on, you can write on it with a mouse. If you were on a tablet, you could
Write on it.
You could write on the tablet.
Let me say one thing about sharing your desktop versus if you look down, you can see right there some of the red circles. I've got PowerPoint. So there's my actual PowerPoint app. And then you can see over there is a Firefox browser that I've got open. You can see I've got a Google Chrome open, got my text messages open. Let me tell you why you wouldn't want to share just your desktop. Does anybody have something on their computer where if you get an email, it'll maybe give you like just a little tiny message that says like, oh, you've got an email from Marcia, and then it'll just say like, you know, the very beginning of your subject line? Have you had that happen before?
I used to have it all the time with AirPlay and my iPad. When my iPad your iPhone does it a lot too. If you don't have it turned off, where you're doing something on your iPhone and somebody, so Marcia, will you go to Gmail? Just because there's a Gmail from Stan. He needs a little help trying to get into the meeting. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
like 8 minutes ago. He needs help trying to get into the meeting. So if you go to your Gmail, I'll let Marcia do that.
Oh, I got it.
But you'll have that text message kind of come through just real quick to say, hey, somebody text messaged you while you're looking at a website or whatever. So it used to be that way on my iPad, and it would scroll up on the top, and they would always know who have a text message. But it's the same if you have that on your tagline on your computer, which I don't have any of those messages come through on my computer. I do on my iPad. Not anymore. I've turned them off. There's ways to turn them off too.
Right.
So sharing that full desktop, you get the whole, like if you're just sharing what's on the screen. So what you guys see is you just see the PowerPoint. You don't see any of my tags up on top. So when you're sharing the desktop, you see all of that. So there's advantages and disadvantages to that, I would say.
Well, and you can also, especially like on my Mac, I can say that I'm going to turn it to do not disturb. So like that's what I have it on right now. Otherwise you would be hearing every time I got a new email. And this is the other thing. Maybe you don't see a little preview, but maybe you just hear the annoying ding ding, because your email keeps checking. So if you turn your computer to do not disturb, that will stop that, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. So you can also hook your iPad up through AirPlay, which is kind of a nice way. I never really even thought that I could do it that way, which I might start doing now instead of, I used to connect Zoom on 2 accounts. So I would connect myself on my computer, and then I would also connect Zoom on my iPad, and then I would share my iPad screen. Well, I realize now I don't really need to do it that way. So it might be more convenient to connect through AirPlay. You can also connect via cable. Now, when Marcia and I were playing with this yesterday, this is her screen that she did a screenshot of. She could do it via cable. Now, her iPad wasn't letting her do it. When I stuck the cable in and I did it, mine automatically did it through AirPlay, and I didn't even have the option to do via cable. So I don't know why it's showing up in hers and it wasn't showing up on mine. You can also just go into like PowerPoint, whatever things that you have up, any of those screens that you have on your tab on your desktop, you can just go right into whatever tab you want. So that's basically screen sharing. It's a great way, you know, especially like doing the whiteboard or whatever, where you can write information on it. Sharing whatever information you need to share with them. So here's a little bit more about the whiteboard. And Marcia, when she comes back, she's helping Stan right now. But when she comes back, she'll explain a little bit more about this. I never used this whiteboard feature because I always use my iPad because I hate writing with a mouse. And if you have this on your laptop or on your computer, you're forced to write with a mouse only because that's the only way that it writes. You can, I believe, pre-slug some stuff in there. So Marcia knows more about it. It's nothing that I ever use because I always just use my iPad. But this is the whiteboarding app. And then when you're in the whiteboarding app, you can see all the stuff up here that you have, all the options. So I could share a whiteboard. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to go back and share again because I don't know how to switch between them. And I'm going to share a whiteboard with you. I got to move my participants out of my way because I have you guys all in the way here. So here's the whiteboard. You can select text. So if I have text, I can type like that. Okay. Or I can draw. I don't know why I didn't draw. There we go. Or you can stamp whatever you want when you do the arrow. We did this a little bit yesterday. We're having fun. So you guys also, when I'm in whiteboard, you guys also have the annotation, right? Everybody see the annotation? So you guys should all be able to annotate. We did it yesterday. No, yes? Huh. I don't know why. Because yesterday when we did it, you guys could all annotate. Remember, we were having fun. Everybody's putting check marks on. Who just wrote on it? Pam. So you had the annotation. And you're muted, Pam.
I forgot that you can go up to view options and you just click on annotate.
Thank you. So everybody, if you go to view options, you can click on annotate and then you can all play a little bit. You can see how you can, I see people putting hearts and see now when you do it, your arrows have names on it. I imagine mine had my name on it when I did it for you, but I don't see it. So that's just using the whiteboard. The one nice thing about the whiteboarding app that I like in Zoom is that students could do annotating. So if they had a question, you know, you could teach them, you know, if you have a question, go ahead and go to the stamp and the arrow and point your arrow right where your question is, and then I know to answer that question. So it's kind of nice. Then you have the little spotlight. So this, the only way I ever did annotations was with the stoplight, and then I would have stuff pre-slug, and then I can.
Diane, can the students annotate within Notability while you're doing something? No.
No.
Only on the whiteboard. Okay.
Only on the whiteboard. Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause
Oh,
notability
that's
is
not
up
true.
there. What?
That's not
They
true.
can?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not true. Because they're able to annotate on anything that, watch, jump off. I'll show you what I mean. If I were to,
Now I'm all freaked out because I'm learning something new again. Love it.
hold on. So let me find something that's halfway normal. Oh, here, equivalent fractions. Okay, so let's do this. So now I'm going to share my screen. We're doing decimals today, everybody. All right, now try it. Same thing. Go to options and you should be able to annotate.
I might not be able to because I'm a host.
Nope, you should still be able to. I could do it on yours. Go to view options up at the top.
I don't see it.
There you go.
Marsha, can you enlarge it?
Can I enlarge it? I could, oops.
Because the squares are really small.
Okay, hold on.
Whoa. Somebody had fun.
1 second, wait. How do I stop annotating? It's gonna make it bigger.
Now, Marsha, where did are you just sharing this screen from?
This is just a normal PDF I have on my computer.
Okay.
So
So
there
you
go.
think it would work the same way if I pulled up Notability? That they,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
that's there. Yeah, because it's there. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh,
Now, here's the
that.
catch though. If they write on your Notability, it's not gonna save.
And that would be all right with me. I would more use it for like them, you know, using the arrow. I think it's a great way for them to point out where they have a question or something like that.
Oh, I love that. I love that because a lot of times you're like, you know, especially when you're doing, you know, the algebra, they're like in calculus, they're like, you lost me. What did you just do? And they could just take that and go right there. You lost me. That's awesome.
And they say you lost them and you have no idea where you lost them.
No, like, where did you lose me? And this, like, that's awesome.
That is awesome. That's a game changer.
That's huge.
And I think I have a slide. I can't remember if it's in, I'm doing too many PowerPoints lately, but I think I have a slide in at the end of this, Diane, that gives the directions for that, I think. For sharing a PowerPoint, or was that Frank's? I can't remember now.
No, I don't think it's on here.
Okay,
anyway,
it's in,
you ready for me to take back over?
Yes, I'm stopping. There you go.
All right. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint where we were at. And this is where we were talking about our screen sharing here, right? So let me see if I can bring it back. So that's just sharing that screen. So here again, Marsha's saying, you notice you can see yourself. This is where we were talking about earlier. How you can adjust your screen. So she's just got directions here. If you're not seeing all the participants right about here, if you see my cursor, right about here in the middle of that, you should be able to drag that. I just clicked on it, so it made my screen move.
Oh yeah, you just showed the slide I was talking about, by the way.
Oh, well, I can't go. Why do I have this? Oh, I know now where the black thing came from. Sorry.
There you go.
So you can pull, there's a couple double lines there and you can pull it over. That's where she was talking about adjusting the screen. All right. So Marsha hates writing with a mouse about as much as I do, right? So how can you get around writing with a mouse? For me, I use my iPad to do that. But you can do things where you have like a PowerPoint that's already annotated and fill in that way.
Well, this is walking. These are the steps of walking you through what I just did, where you could have a PDF, pull it up, and then do it that way. And you could do the same thing on your iPad, but just in Notability, in GoodNotes, in whatever you chose to do it in.
Yeah. So, but you're still, if you don't have an iPad or a tablet with you, you're still limited to, if you want to add anything to your stuff, to a mouse.
Actually, this just in, that's not true anymore.
What?
Go to the well, spoiler alert. There's one more option. We'll talk about it at the end. Keep going.
All right. So again,
Oh, there's
there's the annotating that we were talking about. Students can write, however their screen will allow them to. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, Marcia, I remember your last screen. So this is what she's talking about, dragging the 2 lines. Those are the 2 lines that you can make your screen. We talked about that quite a bit.
But I often hear from a lot of people like, oh, I hate when I share my screen. I lose all my students. I can't see anything. That you're doing something wrong. You can always see your students. So
yeah, make sure you're in the gallery view. That's the big thing, and then pull it over.
Yep, and make sure you're not in full screen, because computers do weird things when they go to full screen, and it's possible that it's bumping your students off of your view.
That's true.
So
the other thing that I would suggest is, if you're like at home, if at all possible, you can get yourself a double screen. So I know Jen just found a double screen, Jennifer Carrillo. She just found one at like a Goodwill or something like that for $10 with a cord. I was like, what the? I spent $80 on mine on Amazon, and I'm telling you, it was worth every $80 I spent to have 2 screens, because I was so used to 2 screens. And this summer, when I was stuck at home teaching, Zoom teaching all summer, when I didn't have the 2 screens in the beginning, I was going crazy. It's like I couldn't have everything that I needed. Like, I wanted my answer key up, I wanted, certain things up, and I couldn't have everything there that I needed, even being hooked in with an iPad. So I went and spent the $80 on a double screen.
If you're adjunct and don't feel like you have access or don't want to buy that, I think that you can request and make a big enough stink, and I think they'll give you one, because obviously we have them on campus, and it makes no sense that
they're just sitting there.
Yeah. So I reach out. Diane and I would love to help you advocate. I think it's very reasonable to say, I mean, like you said, they're not expensive when you buy them new. So for us to loan you one, but I know they were doing that in the spring for sure. Oh, look, Stan is going to experiment like we talked about yesterday. All right, Stan 2 is now on.
So Stan's in twice.
Because remember, he didn't have any communication on one, and then he was going to do it on the other. So we'll see.
We'll see how it works.
I can see you all.
Oh, good. We can hear you, Stan. We
Well,
can't
you're
see
hearing
you,
me
but
off
we can
my
hear you.
number 1. So
Oh,
the other computer doesn't have video or sound. So,
all right.
but I can't. Once you guys give me a chance, I'll try the.
The sharing.
Yeah, I'll try the sharing.
So I'm going to go to the last screen, but yeah, like Marcia was saying, I think that that's a fantastic thing. If anybody wants a double screen, I would advocate for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, to me, it's a game changer. Once in my office, they put 2 screens on, and then I hooked in my laptop and I had 3 screens. I was like, holy crap, it's like the Holy Grail. I can't work without all of my screens anymore. I feel so limited when I'm just on my laptop. So here is Marcia's
This just in.
I never thought about doing this, but this is such a cool idea. I told her this when she finished the slides. I'm like, oh my God, I love that idea in the end. You can buy these little document camera stands for your iPhones now, really super cheap. And you can hook your iPhone into your computer through Zoom, just like we were showing, share your iPhone. And you can use a piece of paper and write on it like a document camera. How cool is that?
So I put the link in the chat. They are $11.99. Actually, you can get 5% off on Amazon right now. It's called the Aduro, A-D-U-R-O, solid grip phone holder for desk. But the nice thing about it is that it's gooseneck. So what you could do is stick it on your desk, you put your phone in it, and then you would turn your phone so that the camera was looking down at your desk. You'd put a piece of paper under it and write on it with a Sharpie. It would act like a document camera. And talk about cheap, $11, and that might solve a lot of your stress. So what you would actually end up doing is, and I can show you right now, let me just show you on my phone. So what I can do is I'm going to, on my phone, and so actually, Diane, you want to jump off for a second?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to share.
I love this. For 11 bucks, I think I'm buying one just to FaceTime when I FaceTime, so I don't have to prop my phone up somewhere.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my iPhone, and I've got a cable hooked up, and I'm going to hook it up into my computer. Okay. And then when I share, what?
You need a special app to do that on your phone?
Nope. You just take your regular charging cord stand and stick it into the USB on the side of your computer.
Okay. I don't know if that works. Well, I'll try it with my Android and see if it works. But that's cool.
Because this could work if your tablet has a USB on the side of it.
Oh,
this could work for you for a whiteboarding app. Like we're saying.
Yeah.
So everybody can see my phone, yes?
Yep.
Yep.
So then I'm going to hit camera. And now you can see. So what I would do is if I had, if you know, it's all jittery right now, right? Because I'm holding it. But think about if I had a holder for this, then I can write on my paper and my students can see what's going on.
It looks like you're only getting, little pieces of the action. So it's not a smooth action on it.
That's because she's holding it.
Who cares when you're writing?
Yeah, I think it's just because the connection.
Now this made me think, Marcia, I don't know about this, because this like gets my brain all going crazy, right? So what if you did this, could you, because a lot of times I write stuff out and I send the picture on Remind back to my students of the work. What happens if I recorded it instead so they saw all the steps and they heard me talk? And can Kevin send me some food too? But what happens if I recorded it and I sent the recording to them?
This is why I'm saying that for $11 to have a holder that holds your phone, if you're a teacher, I feel like this is huge.
Yes.
And I did send this to Joe and Kelly and Frank and just said this seems like a no-brainer for people that's really reasonably priced. And I haven't heard back yet. Frank said it's brilliant, but I found it I just started Googling third-party whiteboard apps and it came up and I was like, yes. And there's even a link there for a YouTube video that shows him demoing it. But I know that my very first videos that I ever made a million years ago were literally me holding my phone like this with one hand and I'm writing underneath of it with the other. And you can see that, my hand gets tired after a while. And that's how I started making some very small videos. So just even to have it for that would be amazing so that it's not all shaky.
Yeah, I think, and you bought it on Amazon.
I didn't buy it yet, but
no, you found it on Amazon.
On Amazon, yeah. Well, I saw it on this website that was, I forget where, talking about different options. But so your options are for sharing. You have that's not that you have some sort of tablet that you're going to connect and write on, Notability, whatever. Or if you have a James has a what kind of computer that you can write on the screen or whatever.
Tablet PC.
Yeah, tablet PC, then obviously that works really well. But if you have just a traditional desktop and you don't, you're not going to have a lot of options, or you don't have an iPad, you don't have some kind of tablet, to me, that is your absolute best option. And the beauty of that is it's not even like you need a really fancy phone. Like as long as it's just going to be how good your camera is. So as long as you got something above, let's say an iPhone 4 or 5, the camera should be plenty clear that they could see. And yeah, it might not be perfect, but goodness, the iPhone, I don't even have the newest iPhone. I have a 10 and the camera on this is way better than even a webcam. So that's what I got for you.
No, I think you found the solution.
I'm gonna do a quick
Literally, they
share.
might have. Oh, there's all sorts of them. There's even one for
I'm gonna do a
like
quick share.
$7.99.
Oh,
Share
say that.
test. Share test, everybody.
Okay, go for it, Stan. You're up.
Can you see it on stand two?
Yep, hold on.
Well, there you go.
Now, Stan, watch this. I'm going to draw on it.
Okay. Oh, I see your name. Pam's drawn too.
Yep.
What are you guys are making a mess out of my email or my file?
Well, it won't save. It's just annotating it. By the way, there is a setting you can click in your advanced settings that will save all of your annotations. However, I think it's going to save them and it's not going to save the background if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So it would just show right now my Scrabble. It wouldn't actually show Stan's file behind that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to undo this maybe. Oh, yeah. I'm screen sharing. Oh, stop sharing. There we go.
If you notice up at the top though, there is a button that says save. So you could potentially Google share out a link to your students, put them into breakout rooms. And again, if you want to know more about breakout rooms, come to Frank and I's. It's tomorrow, I think at 1. Put them into great breakout rooms and then have them open this up in breakout rooms, annotate on it all at different places, and then hit save and send it back to you through mine, put it in the chat, something like that. So there are lots of good options if you're willing to kind of think outside the box.
Could you use that to have them photograph a test paper that they just did when you're doing your own monitoring?
When you say, you're saying.
They write on paper. They write a test on paper. Could they take a picture of it and then send it through the share to me so I can save it?
Yeah, but I don't think that's something you need to do in Zoom. I think you could just do that through a Google Drive. That would be the best thing, is to just make a Google Drive for your students that they could dump it into.
Okay.
I do it in Canvas. I have a link in Canvas. You can create a link in Canvas. I have a link in Canvas where my students upload all their work. It's fantastic because I can go to SpeedGrader in Canvas and I can write and annotate right on it and put it right back to them. It's really a cool deal in Canvas.
Sounds good.
There's all sorts of stands, by the way. I'm looking them up right now because I'm fascinated with this stand deal. There's all sorts of them for you to buy.
Right, that was just one of them. That one has high views. Well, and there's ones that don't have the big gooseneck on them, but I think the gooseneck would be super helpful for what we want to use it for.
Yeah.
Because you can get little tripods or shorter ones. Is there anybody else that would like to try sharing or has questions on that? Anything you want to try? We are officially done with our content, so we can hang out. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.